the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Recruiting sites had him, you know, in the transfer portal rankings. Like I think 247 had him as like a top 25 guy, and then everybody else had him like fringe 100, where Ledlum was pretty consistently like the 30 to 40 range.
Yeah, and look, they have benefit of the doubt. Don't panic. They deserve the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see what happens. It's gonna be fun to figure out this roster down the stretch here. Absolutely. Final thing here. Orange and white game happened over the weekend. Who popped the most for you, Ryan Schumpert, and who sizzled the most for you on Saturday afternoon?
Jake Merklinger and Nate Snead look pretty darn good. I mean, I meant to say Gaston more, but Jake Merklinger did look pretty good too. I mean, that was kind of adjusted to how pointless the orange and white game is. Mike Matthews' touchdown catch was really impressive. I mean, I think you saw some of that athleticism and the kind of in-air adjustment that he made.
Yep.
You saw why there's a lot of excitement there. I think the guy that he beat on that play is maybe the guy who sizzled the most. I think I said it last week. It's the guy I wanted to watch, being Jordan Matthews. It felt like he had a tough day, got beat on a couple long passes, including that one at the end of the half. So those are kind of some quick names. I mean, the whole backup interior offensive line that was playing with the starters against the one's defense did not have a very good day, but I don't think that was very surprising. And obviously a ton of guys were out. So those were kind of my quick thoughts.
Mike Matthews, I think, absolutely popped. We didn't see Braylon Staley in this game, but for me, the competition at receiver is going to be like, there's just, to me, like something I wrote down as I was watching this game. There's no chance that Tennessee's going to be able to keep a small rotation at receiver this year. They just can't. Like, there's just too much talent. Like, we wondered last year who was going to be their three, because that's what we've seen through the first 3 years with the Heupel era. I don't think you have a choice. I think there's just too much talent now. Even the freshmen are popping. Like Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley, I think, are going to have to get reps. I think they're too good. And based on what we heard about Staley in the prep, and also he looks like he might be the only slot guy. Like you can slot Chaz Nimrod back in there if need be, maybe Dante Thornton, but Dante Thornton is just so much better. And we saw that did not go as well as maybe people had assumed coming in. He's really comfortable on the outside. He looked really good. I think Chris Brazzell really popped on the outside for Tennessee. I just think there's just so much talent. Like Caleb Webb and Nimrod, if they stay, like you look at this group, I just don't see how Kelsey Pope, Heupel, and Joey Halsey don't have a kind of a hefty rotation at receiver this year. And I think it's going to be very different, but I also think to build off that, Tennessee's going to throw significantly more this season they did a year ago. Last year, the boat was built around Jalen Wright and Jabari and Dylan Sampson. The boat this year, you saw like the running game. I mean, look, Dylan Sampson played very little in this game. Cam Seldon's obviously out for a while. Dylan Lewis obviously not available as well this spring. I just look at this. This is going to be a pass-heavy offense again, like 2 years ago. Like running the ball will always be important in this offense, but to me, Nico was thrown over the middle of the field again, which was something we have not seen since 2 years ago with Hendon. I think we're going to see a whole heck of a lot of downfield assault with this Tennessee offense again. They took a bunch of deep bombs in this game. We did not see in the bowl game against Iowa. So I don't think Nico took a shot downfield in that game. And they still were slicing and dicing one of the better defenses in college football. My gut tells me that Nico's going to have a very, very pass happy, very fun season here as the first year starter at Tennessee. And I think fans should get ready for the kind of aerial attack that made Tennessee's offense special 2 years ago. I think this is just going to be fireworks all over the place in the passing game.
That was an incredible minute 40 of you just getting a little more dramatic and a little more, I guess, just dramatic as developed. I agree the rotation is going to have to be bigger.
I'm a professional, Ryan. You know this.
I just don't see how, to your point, I just don't see how it's not. Like, it just doesn't seem like there's enough separation, and there's so many guys that are solid that it does feel like they just have to, even past 4, it feels like it's going to truly have to be 6. And even 6, it's going to be like someone's going to get cut out. So that'll be interesting to see.
No, I mean, it's going to be great. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Let me go back to your more the Tennessee offense was slicing and dicing Iowa in the bowl game. Did we watch the same game?
Nico was slicing and dicing. Nico in the run game, and
he threw for 140 yards.
He also ran for a bunch. He
played well. Tennessee scored 35 points. They got a pick 6, and they got a drive that started at the 1 yard line on a forced fumble. They scored 21 points on real drives. So slicing and dicing. This is like all the Tennessee fans last year who got further and further removed from the Orange Bowl, and Joe Milton's performance was just better and better. And I'm disappointed in you, Chase, because you saw the Joe Milton stuff last year. You had it sold out that Joe Milton was not as good in that Orange Bowl as everyone was saying. And Nico was good in that game, but the offense slicing and dicing? Really? Slicing and dicing?
They were slicing and dicing. And I'll just say, the improv that Nico's going to do, rolling out, like, it's just going to be fun. I just think there's just too much talent, man. And there wasn't this much talent at the receiver position last year in the bowl game against Iowa. Like, there's just Mike Matthews and the pressure that these young guys are going to put on. And Chris Brazzell was also not available. Like, I just look at this group. There is just so much talent in that receiver room right now. With Nico and what I think Nico is going to be capable of doing this year, that combination of Nico plus this receiver room is just going to be one of the nation's best. I just think the sky is the limit, and I would be very surprised if Tennessee's pass offense is not as aggressive and as versatile and as dominating as somewhat close to what we saw. I think it's going to be hard to ever match what they were in 2020, 2022, but I think this group in this collection of receivers and quarterback play has a chance to be really, really special.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot better than it was last year. I think they're going to be good. And I do think they're going to be a lot more aggressive throwing the ball down the field. That is the part that I will 100%, 100% agree
in the middle.
with. I think you're right about that. Yeah, and in the middle too. And maybe, you talk about it being really pass heavy like 22. I don't really think it was overly pass heavy in 22. I mean, they passed the ball. It was very aggressive in the passing game in 22.
I guess that's what I mean. More aggressive. They're going to be aggressive in the passing game again.
Yeah. Heupel's offense is just never super slanted, and I don't think you're going to see that this year either. But to your point, and what again, like I think you just said, you were getting at, I do think they'll be a lot more aggressive.
Tennessee was number 2 in yards per attempt in 2022, 10 yards per throw. Yeah. I think we're going to be closer to that this year.
Yeah, certainly would think so compared to what it was last year.
Yeah. I will say the other guys who popped maybe was Edwin Spillman I think going to be a really good 100%. Player. That man popped.
He's a tackling machine, man.
Yes. He and T-Lander too. Like, I think it's just interesting. Arian Carter still out. Obviously probably the most raw talent in the linebacker room. Keenan Peely's healthy, and that's nice to get him back. I think the linebacker room is going to be really solid. I think William Inch is walking into a really good situation. There's a lot to like there. The defensive line's the core of the team, though. I think that's probably the deepest on the team. They just flashed on Saturday, and they dominated that first quarter. I mean, it was not like the offense was able to do much against that defensive line early in that one. I guess the only question I still have maybe is the secondary to me. I mean, Boo Carter, I think, popped a lot. I think Boo Carter, he's speaking of guys who are just going to push like Matthews to just be on the field because they're just too good, even if they're freshmen. I think Boo is just going to continue to push. He's a playmaker. Boo had some good tackles at the line of scrimmage in this one. He obviously was returning punts. He's just going to find himself around the ball. Like, Boo Carter just feels like he's someone who's just going to find himself making plays. And you talk about Jordan Matthews having a tougher game. Jalen McMurray was out there. I wonder about the corners. I wonder about where Tennessee's at in the secondary because, there were a lot of bombs. Tennessee moving up, like once they got past the starters and like Ricky Gibson and Jermod McCoy. Like, I kind of wonder if Tennessee gets banged up at corner, what that group looks like this year, because a lot of the talk has been about them being more athletic. But we'll see what that actually looks like because it's a lot of inexperience. It's not like Jermod